watching Thrifty Kaniffy. Hello everyone and welcome to Thrifty Kaniffy. Well, today we're going to be taking a look at a Rough Ryder, this one from the Red Fox series. Now previously I reviewed the sow belly, so if anybody's interested in that you can go check that out. I'll give a link up here in the top right corner. You've got the RI spelling on this. I've talked about that previously. I think this was a design that they had intended to release sooner than they did, so it has an older spelling on there. They've since moved to the RY spelling. Get the Red Fox sort of little logo for the series, a nice little fuzzy fox there, and it says black and red micarta scales are actually black and red G10. If we look at the side, we have the back-to-back R logo there, the Red Fox series logo. On the bottom we have always high quality handmade pocket knives, their Rough Ryder slogan. Country of origin is China, and a cancer warding there. Side of the box we've got the website information, and then we have the model number RR2297RF, the RF for Red Fox. The regular RR2297 was basically the same knife, the Canoe, without a shield on it. Inside we have the Rough Ryder with the RI spelling there, bag, and the felt line cutout. Magnetic style closed box. And here's a look at the knife. So we're looking at a Canoe here, and it's 3 5/8 inch length close, which is standard for pretty much canoes. In that length, that's a pretty much standard size length for a Canoe. They do make a smaller Canoe, Rough Ryder, but this is their standard size. You've got the G10 handles here, and they're layered. It's black and then followed by red, black, alternating. And then you have the Red Fox G10 shield there, which is kind of unique. I don't think Rough Ryder's done anything quite like that with a G10 shield before. You can see there's red underliners that go the outside of the handle there and then along the bottom. But we have diagonal bolsters made from nickel silver. Got a thread and a pinch on either end. Got good smooth transition on those handles to the bolsters. Everything feels really nicely there, and no rough top or bottom edges. The pins are ground down smooth. Everything feels really nice. You can see on the back, this pretty much looks like the RR2297 without the shield on it. So I guess they've just renumbered that. It's a little different than what Rough Ryder normally does. You don't see letters at the end of the number typically, so that's a little unusual. But that, I think, is just to kind of designate this as the one part of the series. And so with any Canoe, you know, you're always kind of looking for the top of the knife to be nice and smooth with its profile by tucking those blades into the channel, and you don't have that exposed elbow there at the back, which is really nice. So I like to see that in a Canoe. But the black and red G10 is really nice. I felt like on the RR2297 it was a little dull, so that pop of red with the shield really does a lot for it. And if we look at the back here, we've got really nice quality control, no gaps there. Got the brass liners on the stainless steel springs, and you really have to kind of search to find any gaps. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's about as good as you'd expect from any Rough Ryder, and you got to give them kudos for that one, because I think this example is about as good as you're gonna get usually from a Rough Ryder. So excellent fit and finish all the way around. They've done a really good job there. So if we look at the blades, we have a spearpoint blade. These are made from 440A stainless steel. This is their, the older style steel. I think, again, because this was an older series, that they haven't upgraded the steel on this particular series. So you got a swedge there at the top along with the longer nail pull with the match strike style. I do like the rectangular style nail nicks a little better than the arcing ones, but not a huge fan of the match strike. I think it's kind of a pointless thing to have because it doesn't really work. There's a look at the blade edge, and you got a hollow grind there with that satin finish. You can see those vertical grind lines. If we look at the tang stamp, we can see it's the back-to-back R logo there with the font underneath there. It reads Rough Ryder with the I spelling. So both the packaging and the blade they match with what they've done there. Good snap on the pull and action on the blade. You got a half stop, about a 7.5, I'd say. Really happy with the blade action there. A lot of confidence in use. Now, the cool thing about the Canoe with the main blade, you have two positions. You can kind of position your hand all the way here at the top for detail work. Not quite as comfortable as this rear position. So you sort of have a natural choil created by the secondary blade and the shape of that bolster. And you get about a 3.5 finger grip, at least I do with my medium to large size hands. And that's pretty comfortable in the hand in that position. Up here, not quite as much, but not too bad either. So yeah, a little more detailed work oriented up the top there, but in any position with the main blade, it's pretty comfortable. So if we look at the blade length, we have a measure of just slightly over 2.5 inches, and then we got a cutting edge right at about 2.25. So it's going to be UK legal, no problem there. We look at a secondary blade. We've got a sort of a larger pin blade, pretty standard on a Canoe. Total length of 2 inches, and then you got a cutting edge of 1.5, or sorry, 1.75. So again, very much UK legal. And good blade action on this blade as well. And happy with the way that feels. Locks up really well, good confidence. The one thing I'll say about using the secondary blade is it's not nearly as comfortable. When they put the swedge on there, one of the reasons I don't like it, it has nothing to do with the appearance. It's like when you grip down on a Canoe with the secondary blade and you got that swedge there, that does dig in your hand a little more than it would if the spine was a little broader. So it does create a little situation where you get a little bit of a hot spot on that second finger right here, right at that joint. So I wouldn't necessarily want to use this blade long term, not super comfortable there. Also, another thing, and you may have noticed when I was opening the blades a little earlier, I have a habit of whenever I open these blades of sometimes pushing the blade over into the path of the blade so that it catches sometimes. So when you're using a Canoe, and this goes for pretty much any Canoe, I've done it on multiple brands of knives. It doesn't really have anything to do with this particular knife, it's just the pattern in general. But when you're opening the blade, maybe kind of hold the knife from below, so when you're opening and closing it, you don't push that blade over. Just kind of get in the habit of doing it. I know that when I typically close other knives, I sort of I get kind of close to the actual blade drop down when I hold my finger up, and a lot of times I'll push the blade into the path. So with the Canoe, that is not something you want to do. You will get blade rub, and there's no reason for that to happen other than you just not paying attention. So just a little tip. Not everybody's going to do that. That may just be me. I don't know. But I do tend to do that from time to time. But no, these blades are easily clear. There's no issues with blade rub when you open them normally. It's just something that'll happen if you kind of close it with your finger like that. Keep it down here. No issue. But yeah, nothing again to do with this particular knife. That's just something with Canoes in general. But I think they've done a great job, Rough Ryder, with this particular series. I'm really happy with the way the shield looks and the way they've cut that in there and laid it in there. Everything fit and finish wise is really good, so I'm glad to see that a new series of knives is not taking a step back or anything like that. This looks really well put together. So it looks like they're going in the right direction with that and not getting worse or anything like that. Quality control doesn't seem to be slipping or anything. So I'm really happy. I'm really pleased. For what it is that I paid. I think I can't really recall what the number was. Between $14 and $16, I want to say, is all the more this knife was. And I got this on Chicago Knife Works. So yeah, very affordable, and you might not expect what you're getting fit and finish wise from a blade that costs that, but Rough Ryder is always seemed to be among the leaders for bang for the buck and the quality that you get. But the edges seem to be pretty sharp. Pretty happy with the grinds on them. They're not crazily heavy. There's a look at that side. They look to be pretty even, and no problem cutting anything. Don't really need any extra work. They did a good job on that as well. So really, just a really well put together knife, really well made. Really happy with the series. Again, a model number RR2297RF, or Red Fox Canoe. That's going to do it for my review, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell to be made aware of videos when they drop. We'll see you next time. Take care.